Markets are weak, headed towards that 11,000 mark on the Nifty, but our eye is on IndiaMART. This is a recent listing. They reported the Q1 numbers yesterday. The numbers look good. The stock is up close to about 3% and the stock is currently trading at a premium to the issue price, which was at 973. So from those levels, the stock is higher by more than about 25%. And considering the stock listed less than a month ago, it's been a pretty good listing so far. We are now joined by Mr. Dinesh Agarwal, the CEO and MD of the founder and MD of the company. Mr. Agarwal, morning. Your revenue growth has been quite strong at 30%. Do you think you can sustain this momentum for the rest of the year? And even your margins, if I adjusted for the Ind AS impact, are still higher at about 21-22%. Is that sustainable?
So our revenue has been historically growing at about 25%, 26% if you see the last 4 or 5 quarters. This particular quarter has been specifically higher at 30%. So I would say that let us not take this particular quarter as the benchmark, but let's hope that we will continue to do upwards of 25% in revenue in coming quarters as well. As far as EBITDA margin goes, yes, there has been definite expansion in the EBITDA margin, because last year same quarter we had about 15% EBITDA margin. As our revenues have grown at about 25%, upwards of 25%, whereas our cost is growing at around 17-18%, which is resulting into EBITDA margin. So even if you adjust for Ind AS, our EBITDA margin has grown from 15% to about 21-22%.
All right. Mr. Agarwal, being a company that you are, which deals in the wholesale business, you're also at the heart of the economy, so to say, as far as the MSMEs are concerned. So if you could tell us, how have the transactions been in this quarter, the number of transactions and the value of total transactions, how does that compare with previous quarters?
So as you know, IndiaMART is a listing advertising platform. So we do not complete transactions at our platform, but we do get inquiries on our platform. So I can tell you the total number of business inquiries that has been about 113 million this quarter, as against 98 million the first quarter of the last year. So there has been, it peaked at in the Q2, and then Q3 and Q4 has been a little bit down, and the Q1 has again picked up. So yes, economy slowdown can be seen in the inquiry numbers or the traffic numbers, especially in the Q3 and Q4. However, Q1 is still started to pick up a little bit.
Mr. Agarwal, just to understand your business model, can you explain how the company accrues this deferred revenue growth? What is it an account of? And considering you do majorly deal with SMEs, is there a risk of a slowdown and therefore the company not being able to account the entire deferred revenue?
So our business model is we have sellers. We have about 5.5 million sellers and about total paying customers of about 133,000. These 133,000 paying customers, some of them are paying us monthly, some of them are paying us annually, and some of them are paying us for 2 years and 3 years in advance. So this deferred revenue is accumulated revenue because of the advance paid by these customers for 2 years and 3 years subscription. So in the past we have not seen any trend whereas the deferred revenue has to be reversed. Less than 1% of the customers who ask for a refund when something like that happened. So I don't think there is a risk of deferred revenue not being recognized. As you can see, our deferred revenue has increased by 32% from about 461 crores to 610 crores in this quarter.
Right. Mr. Agarwal, if you could also tell us, what is your target to increase the number of paying subscribers? Because of the 56 million total suppliers that you have, a very small number, just about 1.3 lakh actually go ahead and pay. So if you could tell us some more about how do you plan to increase it and what target do you have in your mind?
Every classified freemium business model runs on the similar way. So we have about 5 million subscribers and 1,33,000 paying customers, which is about 2 to 3%. And this varies from city to city and industry to industry. In certain cities and industries, we would see penetration as high as 10%, and in certain cities and industries, we would see penetration as low as 1%. You can see that since it is a B2B business, a lot of business happens mostly from metro cities and tier 1 cities. 66% of our total revenue comes from tier 1 cities, and rest of the revenue comes from the thousands of the small cities. So going forward, you can see that our net customer increase has been happening in the range of 15 to 20% over the last 2-3 years. And this quarter also it has been at about 17%. However, if you see quarter on quarter, net customer addition has been slower at only 3,000 as against about 5,000 per quarter. This has been on two accounts. One, there has been slowdown in the economy, which leads to higher churn and lower sign-ups. Two, we have taken an annual subscription price upgrade from 1st of January, and generally it takes 2 quarters or 3 quarters to stabilize on that.
But that's a very important point. You're saying the increase in your paying subscribers on an absolute basis, on a quarter-on-quarter basis, is actually slowed down on account of the slowdown in the economy. And also, of course, on account of the fact that you have taken some realization of price increase. Is there a risk that this price increase might result in volumes actually declining for you? Because if I look at your traffic growth, that has only gone up 2% on a year-on-year basis.
I would say that would be very premature to say, because traffic is, if you see last 2-3 years, traffic has been growing at 50 to 70% per annum on a yearly. So there has been a very high base that we have reached. As you can see, our overall visits in the quarter, that traffic is about 184 million traffic, which if you look at 3 years ago, it was less than 69 million. So we have gone 3x of the traffic growth in the last 2-3 years. We are already touching the lives of almost 10% of Indian internet population every month. So I think traffic growth is fine. And in terms of customer growth, as I said, taking the price increase takes about 2 quarters. So next quarter, I think we should be fine again.
Mr. Agarwal, thank you so much for joining in. Wish you good luck for the remainder of this year as well. Your IPO has created wealth. Let's see how the business pans out over the next few quarters. Meanwhile, this is the time when we wrap up on Chartbusters. We do that with the news that there has been a sharp decline in the markets. We are threatening to fall below the 11,000 mark on the Nifty, and Zee Entertainment, that's the